What if the most powerful business strategy today isn't innovation or pricing, but kindness? What if giving people more than they expect could turn your organization into a legendary brand, your employees into raving evangelists, and your customers into loyal fans for life? That's not just a nice idea. It's a proven strategy. And it all begins with one mindset shift, putting hospitality first. Introduction. Welcome to a world where excellence meets heart. Will Guidara's Unreasonable Hospitality. The Remarkable Power of Giving People More Than They Expect is a book about making people feel seen, special, and valued. Through relentless attention to detail, unexpected moments of delight, and a culture that puts others at the center of everything. Guidara didn't start off as a hospitality icon, but during his time running 11 Madison Park in New York City, eventually named the best restaurant in the world, he discovered something profound. Excellence alone wasn't enough. Great food? Sure. Polished service? Of course. But the thing that made EMP world-class wasn't what they served. It was how they made people feel. The warmth, the personalization, the effort to go above and beyond, even when it was inconvenient, unreasonable, or seemingly irrational. This book isn't just about restaurants. It's about leadership. It's about business. It's about creating meaning for other people, and in the process, finding it for yourself. So, let's dive into the core ideas that make this book unforgettable. 1. Hospitality is a way of being. One of Guidara's boldest ideas is that hospitality isn't just for restaurants or hotels. It's for everyone. A teacher can be hospitable. So can a banker, a manager, or a freelancer. Hospitality, in its truest form, is about how you make people feel. It's about the intentional choices you make to show people they matter. That could be remembering someone's name, noticing their preferences, or going out of your way to solve a problem they didn't even ask you to fix. At EMP, staff members were trained to listen for clues. If a guest mentioned it was their kid's first time in New York, that wasn't just small talk. It was an opportunity. One time, the team overheard a visiting family mention they'd never had a New York hot dog. A staff member sprinted out mid-service, bought a hot dog from a cart, and brought it back, plated with silverware and flair. That family didn't forget it, and neither did the team. That's hospitality, creating moments that matter, just because you can. 2. Be present to be generous. The foundation of hospitality is presence. You can't be generous if you're distracted. Will emphasizes that generosity is about paying attention, not just doing grand gestures. It's about noticing what people need before they even ask. That kind of attentiveness requires slowing down, listening, observing, training your team to care. This principle applied to everything at EMP, from the way guests were greeted to how they handled dietary restrictions. No detail was too small. If someone disliked seafood and the kitchen sent out oysters, they didn't just replace the dish. They made a mental note for future visits. The goal wasn't just to recover from a mistake. It was to prove they were listening. In your business, this could mean recognizing when a client seems overwhelmed and adjusting your approach. It can mean checking in on a colleague who's unusually quiet. Generosity isn't always expensive, but it's always rooted in presence. 3. Create systems for magic. It's easy to assume that magical, memorable experiences can't be systematized, but that's not true. At EMP, we'll realize that in order to consistently go above and beyond, they needed repeatable processes to make it happen. So he introduced a new system. Every team member was given a budget and the authority to create unreasonable moments for guests. Whether it was sending someone home with a personalized gift or setting up a surprise dessert for a birthday, these moments were built into the job. The result? A culture of creativity and care. Systems don't have to be bureaucratic. In fact, the best systems create room for spontaneity. The trick is to equip people with tools, freedom, and the confidence to act. Will calls this choreographing chaos. It means creating a structure that empowers improvisation, because magic doesn't happen by accident. 4. Empower the team to act like owners. One of the most transformational ideas in the book is that the best teams don't just do their jobs, they act like owners. And ownership isn't about title or equity. It's about mindset. Will shares how he worked to build a culture where every employee, from dishwasher to maitre d', felt responsible for the guest experience. That meant training, yes, but more importantly, it meant trust. He gave team members permission to solve problems on the spot, without checking in with managers. He asked them to imagine how they'd want their own family to be treated, and then act accordingly. That level of autonomy led to moments of magic that no rule book could have anticipated. In your business, consider how often bureaucracy gets in the way of brilliance. Do your people have the freedom to act? Do they know you trust them? Empowerment is the bridge between good service and unforgettable impact. 5. Embrace the tension between excellence and hospitality. One of the biggest challenges Guidara faced was balancing technical excellence with emotional connection. Many fine dining restaurants focus so intensely on perfection that they forget the guest altogether. The food becomes art, but the experience becomes cold. We rejected that trade-off. At EMP, the goal was both food that was among the best in the world and service that made people feel like family. That meant letting go of some control. If a dish needed to be sent out later so a conversation could finish uninterrupted, so be it. If a jacket didn't fit the dress code, they provide one, but in a warm, welcoming way. Hospitality and excellence aren't opposites. They're dance partners. The key is knowing when to lead with heart and when to fine-tune the craft. 6. Personalization beats perfection. A perfect experience is impressive. A personalized one is unforgettable. We'll discover that what people remember most isn't the flawlessly executed dish. It's the moment that made them feel known. That's why EMP started creating guest profiles. They'd track preferences, special occasions, even little quirks. If a guest mentioned they liked sparkling water during one visit, they'd have it ready the next time, without asking. If someone loved a particular chair, that's where they'd sit. The point wasn't surveillance, it was care. The smallest signals of personalization send the biggest message. You matter. Whether you run a business, manage a team, or simply want to improve relationships, remember this truth. Perfection impresses, but personalization connects. 7. Surprise and delight, even when it's unreasonable. Unreasonable hospitality lives in the unexpected. It's the hot dog served with silverware, the handwritten note after a tough week, the small gift that speaks directly to someone's story. Will teaches that these surprises don't have to be expensive, but they do require intention. They require people who are paying attention and who are willing to go a little further than necessary. At EMP, some of the most beloved moments were the most irrational ones. A dish inspired by a guest's childhood memory. A custom playlist created for a couple celebrating their anniversary. These moments weren't part of the plan, but they were part of the brand. In your world, consider what would delight your audience. What would show them you really care? That's where unreasonable hospitality lives. 8. Lead with purpose, not ego. Will opens up about the evolution of his own leadership. Early in his career, he admits he was driven by ego. He wanted praise, recognition, awards. But over time, he realized that true leadership is about service. The best leaders don't need to be the star. They need to lift others up. That's what he did at EMP, celebrating the team, creating space for others to shine, and stepping back so the guest could be front and center. Purpose-driven leadership transforms everything. It changes how you make decisions. It shifts your focus from self to others. And ultimately, it creates a culture where everyone, employees and customers alike, feels taken care of. 9. Hospitality is scalable. If you believe it is. A common objection to unreasonable hospitality is scalability. How can you deliver these kinds of experiences at scale? Will's answer: belief first, then systems. At EMP, they built templates, checklists, and training that made hospitality replicable. But more importantly, they believed it was possible. Scaling care requires clarity. What kind of experience do you want people to have? What values will guide your team? How will you define success beyond profit? The answers to those questions become your North Star. And with the right culture, anything is possible, even at scale. 10. Make the choice every day. Finally, Will reminds us that hospitality is a daily decision. You won't always feel like it. You'll be tired, busy, under pressure. But every day is an opportunity to choose generosity over convenience. That choice, made consistently, becomes a habit, then a culture, then a legacy. Hospitality isn't a one-time event. It's a lifestyle. And when you live it, the impact ripples far beyond your business. Conclusion. Unreasonable hospitality isn't about perfection. It's about heart. It's about choosing to go beyond what's expected because you believe people deserve it. It's about crafting moments that stick with others long after the transaction ends. Will Guidara's message is simple but profound. Give more than you need to. Pay attention. Personalize. Surprise. And most importantly, lead with generosity. This book isn't just for restaurant owners. It's for anyone who wants to make people feel seen. And in a world that often feels transactional and rushed, that's a gift worth giving. If this resonated with you, I encourage you to pick up the full book. There's so much more inside. Personal stories, tactical tips, and a contagious sense of purpose. And if you enjoyed this summary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Now go out and serve with heart.